Welcome to Picks with the Professor, the show where a real statistics professor
and the Daffy Duck to his Bugs Bunny, Jake,
gives you sports betting tips. I'm your host, Professor Sides, and for the latest updates and information, you can find me on Twitter at Professor Sides. You can find my friend Jake on Twitter at myfriend_Jake. This college basketball episode covers select games scheduled to be played on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. In case you're new here, check out the webpage on the banner. It's www.pickswiththeprofessor.com/new. Give you a primer and explanation of what's going on around here. Otherwise, the goals for this episode are, like always, to share key information about these games, give you some things to think on, and explain why certain plays are being made. We never recommend blindly tailing or fading any pick, but rather to hear the justifications and thought processes to make sure you're fully on board with us or against us before investing your hard-earned money. Remember that Sideline has graded plays on every single game, but as always, take what you like and leave the rest. And if you have questions about any of these or other games, the best place to get answers is on our Discord. That can be accessed through Patreon. The link is in the show description. As always, remember there are no locks in gambling, so what Sideline provides are loves, likes, and leans in its A, B, and C grades to indicate its confidence level with respect to scaling wagers. However, please understand that good and bad variance will occur, so as much as we'd like to say we'll be profitable each and every day, that is an impossible reality for any gambler. Jake, bouncing back from that first day, get all the bad luck out of the way, and then just a normal ho-hum. I'm tired. Ho-hum.
I like it. Whatever. We'll change it up.
Yeah, that needs to be a thing now, right? 2-2 day. Just missed out on the parlay.
Close on that one. Ryder about pulled it out outright. That was a pretty good game. If you got to watch it, that was intense.
Yeah, you nailed that one. Absolutely. Montana and Duquesne, both. We talked about this a little bit pre-show. Hey, look, good news is, you bet $5 in a game and you lose by 1 or you lose by 100, you still lose your $5. It doesn't really matter. It's a great learning opportunity. We were a little bit concerned about Duquesne, all the transfers, and how quickly they would gel. And the answer is quickly. Well, now we know.
Very, very quickly. Completely different team.
Yeah. Montana, didn't realize just how dependent they would be on their main guy. The answer is a lot. So, drop them down a little bit in your rankings, move Duquesne up a little bit, right? It's one of those, it's a good learning opportunity for us. Now we know, right? Now we know.
That's some of the hard part of betting these first couple of season games. It's like you're taking guesses on what you think the team is going to do. And sometimes they zig when you zag, like Duquesne and Montana.
Yeah. And it's important to note, I hear a lot of people will say, like, well, early on in the season, I don't know anything, so I'm not going to bet it. And if you don't know anything, I don't want to encourage you to bet it. We just have to understand that we're always on the same playing field as the books are. Early on in the season, we don't know as much. The books don't either. That can be an advantage, it can be a disadvantage. It just depends on the team, the game, the situation. Later on in the season, you say, I know a lot more. Guess what? So do the books. So it's one of those things where you're typically tracking with them. So if you want to bet early, you don't, whatever. That, I always want people to feel comfortable. However, you're investing your own money. It's your money, not mine. But it's one of those things where if you think you have something early on, you say, I'm a little uncertain. Well, they are too. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it hurts. Montana didn't help us any.
No, they just totally forgot to show up, almost like TCU.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, we're on the upward trajectory after day 1, now day 2, 2-2. I'm expecting 5-0 today. Yeah. Let's make that happen, right?
I mean, I want it to happen. I do, and I think it's going to happen. But that's
a high bar. How about 4? I'll settle for 4-1. 4-1. All right.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
All right,
that's doable.
All right. Well, before we get to the game, some reminders. Please hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Also, if you aren't yet, please consider subscribing or following. It's free, and if you turn on notifications, you won't miss any of the college basketball, MLB, or college football content that this channel provides. I've already mentioned that Patreon, but check it out if you haven't yet. Lots of great benefits above and beyond what we do here. Membership starts at $3 per month. www.patreon.com/pickswiththeprofessor. Even if you don't hit us up there, we are still thrilled to have you here. Let's get to it. All lines courtesy of BetOnline. Sign up link in the show description. And current as the time of this recording on late Tuesday night, the A-plus play of the day here on Wednesday. We're going to take it to Louisville with a bit of a in-city rivalry.
Yeah.
Bellarmine and Louisville. Louisville is a 12.5-point favorite, but get this, Sideline says it should be 5.4. That is quite a discrepancy here. It's just that Louisville should be favored, but not by that much. This Bellarmine team, we were very impressed with last year. Had a fantastic season. This game means a lot to them. They want their, little brother. They want to show big brother, we can hang right with you. Getting 12.5 is an A grade play according to Sideline. Jake, tell us why it's an A plus play in your mind.
Bellarmine should have been in the NCAA tournament. They earned the right.
Yep.
They totally just weird rules got them. They lost their best player in Dylan Penn. You can't really replace a guy of that talent at Bellarmine that quick, but they still have a loaded squad. They're very well coached. Not that Louisville isn't. We just don't know. It's a brand new coach, his first go at it. He was a great player at Louisville, won a title at Louisville, but I don't know how well that transfers in. They don't have a point guard. They lost almost everybody. And, college, you really have to have guards. And, man, they just don't have a guy that plays well consistently. Payne's got his work cut out for him there, especially to get it back to Louisville standard. And I think there's a decent chance that Bellarmine wins this outright. But getting 12.5 will be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's just way too many points. I'm not sure Bellarmine wins. I feel like they could hang in there, and they might. It wouldn't really surprise me. But if nothing else, this feels like a game that Louisville's up 5 or 7 most of the game. Bellarmine's hanging around. Hopefully they can stay inside the number without anything too crazy late. And if they make a run, maybe it's a really exciting finish. But 12.5 is, like you said, just way too many points for this one.
Yeah, just too many.
All right, for the best B side today, we are going a little bit out west to South Dakota State and Boise State. Boise State is a 5.5-point home favorite. Sideline says it should be Boise -7. Total on this one is 144, and that's pretty close to what Sideline projects. Jake, why of all the B grades is this your favorite of that group?
I think this Boise State team is getting a little bit disrespected here, and I think South Dakota State's getting a little too much respect for what they were last year. They lost their bet a lot. He transferred out. I think he's at Creighton. Baylor, I can't say his last name, but for South Dakota State, who's an incredible player. And just like we said with Bellarmine, it is really hard at these schools to replace the talent at that level immediately. And I just don't think they do it. I think they're getting a little bit too much respect. They just played an overtime game with Akron last night. So, they're traveling back, or I believe it was in Akron. So I think they're going to have to travel back and then get ready to play this. Boise State hasn't played yet. They're going to be well rested, itching to go at home. I think getting these taking Boise here is the way to go. I think they're going to come out and win this one by 10-12, and South Dakota State's going to start 0-2.
I always we were on South Dakota State getting 4 points, and that was a profitable play at Akron. I always like when the model zigzags like this because it tells me that it's reading things really well. I talked about this with baseball a lot. There's situations where the model's just going to constantly like a team or constantly fade them. And it's one of those where in the long run, we hope it works out. It's a little bit less about which game, though. It's kind of one of those, hey, the model's taking a stand and saying you should back this team 20 times and we think they're going to win 12 or 13, right? It's just less fun when it just always has to back the team or always has to fade them. But when it's like fade back, it's like, it's kind of zigging and zagging a little bit here like it is with South Dakota State. So I always feel good about that type of play. So Boise State -5.5 is our best B side of the day. To the Jake and a Limb segment, you're doing really well here. This is usually where we point out a C grade play where the model just says, meh, no idea. And Jake, you're coming at it saying, no, I do have an idea. And here's what I like. And this is one that, again, we talked about worked really well last year as well. Only one C grade play today. Not a lot of games. Again, a short slate, only 13 of them. But there's actually a B grade play that you would caution the viewer on. You actually like the other side on this one. So we're going to roll with that here. It's Missouri, Kansas City at LSU. Sideline says this should be LSU -20. It's actually 22. So the model says to grab those 22 points with Missouri, Kansas City. Early on this season, the model's taken a lot of big underdogs. It's been about 50-50. Some of them have only lost by about 10 and hung in there all game. There's a lot of examples like Jackson State, Arkansas Pine Bluff, even the kind of the extreme case. there's South Carolina State here on Tuesday night, right? There's a lot of these examples. There's a lot of examples where these teams are losing by 50, right? So it's kind of a mixed bag early on. Model thinks just a little bit, few too many points, but it's not a huge edge. That's why it's only a B grade pick. Jake, you think we should lay the 22 with LSU at home? Before you tell us that real quick, Sideline also likes the under in this game, likes under 142.5, projects a total of 138. So likes the under. You like LSU. Tell us why you like LSU minus 22.
Okay, so everything from last year is gone. Down to I think even the Water Boys are gone from LSU. It's just they just cleaned house.
One of the wonkiest situations last year.
Yeah, that was just wow. I think 11 scholarship players transferred out, but they brought in who I think is one of the best hires in a long time with McMahon. I really liked what he was doing at Murray State. He brought with him the OVC Player of the Year, his point guard, and another player who transferred from South Carolina to Murray, and now he's back in the SEC playing at LSU. He's obviously the talent enough to be playing in the SEC. KJ Williams and Justice Hill are an incredible 1-2 duo. I think we were talking about the guy from Moorhead that transferred to Auburn on one of the other shows. This KJ Williams plays the same position and beat him out for Player of the Year. So as much as I like the guy from Auburn, I really like Broom. I like KJ Williams a lot more. He's just very, very good. Kansas City's a defensive-minded team that finished 19-12, but man, they just lost to a D2 team where they didn't even put up 60 points. I just don't think they've got enough offense or enough talent to stay in this game. McMahon's really going to want to put his stamp on it in his first game at home. I think they win this like closer to 25 than the 22.
All righty. And then on to the shake and bake with Jake. Here's that same game parlay. We're going to take a side and the total together. Again, got close on this one on Tuesday, didn't quite pull it out. Let's see if we can pull it out here on Wednesday. UT Martin and Youngstown State. Youngstown State is an 8-point home favorite, and the total is 152 and a half. Sideline says that the under is a pretty good play here. Says that the total should actually be 148, so we get about 4.5 points of cushion here. And the model, this is the only C grade play of the night. The model says Youngstown State should be an 8.4-point favorite, so it's backing Youngstown State with a lean, taking the under. Jake, you think this is a pretty good little parlay here, so tell us why you like Youngstown State -8 in the under, why that's both going to hit and get us our first parlay winner of the season.
Yeah. UT Martin just struggled with that not absolutely terrible. I mean, they're still Power 5, but a Pittsburgh team that's supposed to finish towards the bottom of the ACC.
Lacking in talent is the projection for them this year.
Yeah, and this is Capel coaching for his job there too. So they really struggled. Youngstown State, we struggled pronouncing this team all year last year. I'm going to try it one more time. Canisius. Maybe that's right.
We'll go with that.
No, but it was like 90-80. There's a little lacking of defense there from Youngstown State, but I think Canisius might have a little bit better of an offense than UT Martin. I think the defense picks it up. Youngstown State showed some promise. They had 3 guys above 15. 1 came off the bench. That means they're constantly rolling a good scorer at you everywhere they go. The worry with the -8 is they were 56% from the free throw line. So that could get real iffy, especially around that 10-point marker. But I think they do enough to get this one done by 10-12. I think this stays under the 152. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction to the 90-80 game that Youngstown State just played. I think it's just be much more towards the 70s. Both teams in the 70s, maybe low 80s. I don't think it gets out 20 or more, but 10 to 15 is probably about where this stays.
And that's an interesting point. I always say at the top, right, we're trying to give you some things to think on, and hopefully it just kind of naturally comes in the conversation. But I want to call out one specifically here is early on in the season, you're going to see a lot of results, whether it's 1 game or 2 games. So you kind of have a decision point now, and you kind of have one, probably what you get to about 4 or 5 games, where you see something and you kind of have to take a stand and say, this is what I believe, right? I think this is the way they really are. And so after 1 game here, you're kind of saying, hey, I think that was just that 1 game. I think that's a bit of an overreaction. I think they've gone too far. You viewer at home, you can say, no, I think that's a correct reaction. I think that's right? If you disagree with us, that's fine. you just kind of have to answer that question for yourself. Like I said, you'll have another one here in the next couple of weeks where you'll see a team play a game kind of one way and a team kind of play the game the other one. You'll have to sit there and say, which one do I think is real? That's the stance you want to take, and that's what you want to bet. And that's what we're talking about here just for the first one. We think this is a little bit of an overreaction. This total is a little too high. We think under's the right play. Doesn't mean it's a lock. That's just our stance. If you agree with that, ride with us. If you don't, again, that's fine. We want you to be confident in what you're picking, but that's part of the reason we just think that's an overreaction. We should go under this. For this one, so Youngstown State -8, and then the under 152.5 is our shake and bake with Jake for the night. Got 5 unders today as official picks. No overs. Do, of course, keep in mind as numbers move around, that's the official picks here that I'm locking here the night before. As the numbers move around, maybe some different numbers take shape, so you can use that Google Sheet. A lot of you use that Google Sheet and find some different numbers depending on what your book offers as well. So you may have some over edge. That's fine. Officially going 5 unders. There's one here in the how low can you go segment that you want to call out, and whoo boy, I love this one as well. There's no locks in gambling, but I think you and I both just really love under 131.5 and IUPUI at Drake. I feel like we've seen enough of this IUPUI team last year to know that under is the play, and game 1 down, and it doesn't look like things are changing up there. Jake, follow up on that point for me, will you?
Look, I mean, at least they've got a full roster this year.
True.
They still play
for
hard.
now.
Yeah, I mean, for now. I mean, they still try hard. I mean,
they do, and I know I talked about this on a comment. Like last year, even on the 5 guys at the very end, the last couple games of the season into that conference tournament, I mean, they were playing hard and covering a bunch of games despite outrageous spreads. I mean, props to them for playing hard.
Yeah. Well, I just think when they get to similarly talented teams, they'll start to cover more. It's just there's a big talent gap in these, like especially Iowa State, where they just lost by 50. There's a big talent gap there, and I think there's very, very big talent gap here with Drake. But I think
that's why it's basically a 30-point spread.
Yeah. Drake is probably going to win the Missouri Valley and show they're the favorites. They're a very good team. They can play a really good defensive game, and I think they get out way ahead here, and then the scoring kind of slows down and stops. They'll take their foot off the gas. IUPUI has a good chance to backdoor there because it's really hard to win a game by 30, but I don't see this game getting in the eye of this 131 number. That would be very surprising to me because that's going to be IUPUI scoring 50 and keeping
the team total here would be 50. If you want 50 to 80, get you a 30-point victory and 130 points.
And I don't know that there's that much of defensive difference between Drake and Iowa State. I think this Drake team is a very good team, and I mean Iowa State held them to 39, so I think you're going to be very close to that number.
Yeah, I agree. Sideline says this should be Drake -24. Likes getting 29. Again, it's not. We've seen a lot of big blowouts, but it doesn't mean it's easy to win a game by that many points. You take your foot off the gas. You got to get the backups reps. The other team doesn't want to get embarrassed. And IUPUI, like we said at the end of the year, we're still fighting hard, so we expect them to fight hard here tonight. It's that same sort of thing where they got the backdoor option, or they got they're just constantly down by somewhere in the 20s all game, and it's never a game, but maybe Drake doesn't get out to that 50-point lead that Iowa State did. So the model loves IUPUI plus 29. It says the number of points in this game should be 127.5, not 131.5. And even 127.5 seems high. It feels like if this game gets to like about 121, that seems about right. I don't think Drake has any incentive or any need to put up 80 points. And I'm not sure IUPUI can get to 50. I mean, if this is like 70 to 45, that feels about right. We're talking about a 25-point win. IUPUI covers, under hits easily.
Yeah. I mean, something I noticed going through that IUPUI Iowa State game, I don't know IUPUI's coach. I can't remember his name, but he played everybody. I mean, they played all, I think, 15 players, and they all had not just like 1 or 2 minutes or whatever. It was a handful of minutes. So once this game gets out of hand, he's going to just run through everybody, get everybody. He's going to see what he has. And,
you might as well.
Yeah, and give these guys some minutes. And I mean, this is probably what close to home for some of these IUPUI kids. So they're probably going to play some of those deep bench players and get mom and dad a chance to see them. So I think not that they'll give up. He's still going to be playing and coaching. He's just going to give everybody some minutes. And as you get deeper into a bench, the less talent you have.
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Well, that is our show today, our 5 favorite picks for your Wednesday. Jake, any parting words before we sign off?
Yeah. I know we didn't really have a pick on it because I wasn't totally comfortable, but the TV game should be the Davidson-Wright State. That should be an incredible game. Another game to kind of keep an eye out on is Monmouth Seton Hall. And really interested to see what Seton Hall does. Was it just a flash in the pan with St. Peter's, or does he really have something at Seton Hall? So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. The model has A-grade picks on both of those, so check out the sheet. If you ever lose the links to the Google Sheets, they're on the homepage of the website, www.pickswiththeprofessor.com. So always have those links available to you there on the home page. Otherwise, thanks for tuning into this episode of Picks with the Professor. Don't forget to subscribe so you can ensure all the sports betting content we provide on this channel is dropped right into your feed. We'll be back again tomorrow with more college basketball betting content. And until then, as always, best of luck. And remember, you can eat your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.